Hi, everybody. I'm your cult boyfriend, and it is my pleasure to have Justin from Style is Substance in person here.
Hi.
We're here to talk about, sorry if that picked it up on there. We're here to talk about freaks and geeks today, and taking everything within me not to break out in bad reputation. But
You didn't bring a guitar.
That's true, that's true. But I'll resist as much as I can. So, Justin, when this video goes up, Stylist Substance will have a Freaks and Geeks video, and I'll put a link to it down below, and also I'll put a card like right now up top. It's like a companion piece conversation to that. I've seen the video. I at least know what's like the content of it, and it's really good. You should probably watch that. This is a more relaxed conversation about this show that we love so much, called Freaks and Geeks. I want you actually know more about it than me.
I've been studying it. I think you've actually seen it more times than me. I guess right now I'll say some things that I don't say in my video. Despite the fact that I was homeschooled growing up, I think that this was the show that I turned to in my teenage years, and I think that it really had this impact on me. Not a lot more than other shows I was watching around that time, like The Office and Scrubs. As much as I like those at the time, they don't really have the same lasting impact on me that something like Geeks and Geeks does. And returning to this show, I was also struck by how postmodern it is, which is in line with what Zach has been doing on his channel here. With all these teen movies and horror films.
Yeah. We're like, welcome to the club, right? Right, guys?
So he was talking to me about Freaks and Geeks at one point. I'm just like, I have to rewatch that. Then I was rewatching it. I'm like, I want to write about this. And at the moment, I don't know how long the video is going to be, but I'm guessing probably around 40, 50 minutes. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's more of an intuitively postmodern text. I don't think that it's really something that the showrunners really were conscious about. I think they just want to reflect reality for how it is. But if that's what they're doing, that just means that reality is postmodern.
The only thing that conflicts with that, it's like, yeah, I agree with you. At least Kevin Feige. That's how you say his name, right?
Paul Feig.
Kevin Feige. Dude,
Paul Feig.
Marvel is in my brain. It's in like, I don't even know.
Paul
My
Feig.
God.
Paul Feig.
Leave that in. Leave all of it in.
Judd Apatow.
Yeah. That's what I'm going for.
Yes.
I'm going towards the Judd Apatow. Oh my God, that's how they get you guys. Wow. Paul Feig.
Yes.
I'm going to stop saying his name. Judd Apatow is a name I'm going to say, because when I think of Freaks and Geeks, I think of Judd Apatow, who I know is an executive producer on this.
I think he had a really big influence.
It feels like Judd Apatow, more than I'm familiar with Feig's work. Yeah, so much more like an Apatow project, but that's the only thing that conflicts. Is what I was trying to say was like Judd Apatow, I know for a fact, is highly inspired by John Cassavetes, for instance.
Yes.
Especially compositionally, but also the way he makes films. It's like his friends just riffing on a joke until it becomes painful, like emotionally painful. Like that's how he works. So Judd Apatow is really smart. I'm sure he knew if. This is the hard thing with Freaks and Geeks, is you don't know how much Judd Apatow was involved.
Not just that, but I think like based off of everything else I've seen from Judd Apatow, and definitely from the things I've seen from Paul Feig, I think that this just blows everything else out of the water. Like it's just like so much better.
It is.
And maybe because it comes from more of this personal place.
But at least I can say I like other Apatow projects. I don't like other Feig projects.
Yeah, I haven't seen Bridesmaids, but I thought Ghostbusters maybe was horrible. But hey, as far as this show goes, like it's just like each episode is about 45 minutes long, and that really helps like build like the emotion kind of like you can tell it's a very personal text. I mean, it takes place right at the beginning of the 80s. And I'm guessing it's probably like very much like coming from where the writers were at in school.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they're probably more the geeks though, than they were the freaks. But I think the one thing that really sticks out to me about this theories is that it shows these different social structures, these different social cliques within the context of high school, only to then deconstruct them. To really expose like how malleable they really are. You know, somebody could be called a geek or a nerd or whatever, but that doesn't really. It's just a label. It can mean all sorts of different things, and that doesn't actually hold them back between what their potential as a person can be. And the same goes with the freaks or the burnouts, as they're often referred to in the show. And the same goes with everything. Like we see. And I think, like, and we'll get into the characters in just a moment, but I think with Lindsay, the main character, she exists in an interesting position because she once was what they would call she's a math prodigy. Academically, she's like on top of her game. She is also somebody that wants to escape that order. She wants to escape she wants to still do well in school, but she wants to change her life. And this all happens as a result of her grandmother's death, and when her grandmother died, she said that she didn't see God, that there was nothing, and that completely changed Lindsay as a person. She starts wearing this military jacket, and she no longer wants to hang around her mathlete friends. Instead, she wants to hang out with the burnouts, the people who probably won't make it in life, the freaks. But at the same time, it's kind of like there's a bit of a tug of war. Of course, like her parents want her to be back where she was, but at this point, like she established this new identity for herself that she can't really escape at this point, and she doesn't really want to. She has a new friend group, and she wants to stick with this friend group. But at the same time, it's not that she's becoming a freak now. There's some of that, but also the whole freak social clique is sort of changing itself because she is a positive influence on them, even if they're, like it or not, are sort of a negative influence on her. But even if she's also liberated by being within this group, as opposed to sticking with what her parents want and what she's used to for her whole life. I think that she's a great character.
I think she's cool. Yeah, I think she's cool. I was just laughing at that was some really good insight. I humored the idea of just saying, yeah, she's cool.
She's cool.
When did we get to James Franco? Lindsay's awesome.
Yeah.
It's difficult for me to really like parse through her character without having to reference specific character moments with these with the freaks specifically. We have an order. We have an order to this. I don't want to go into these guys until.
Well, let's go. James Franco,
Desario, Daniel Desario.
Daniel Desario. I think as far as James Franco's roles go, this is probably his best one. It's if it's not his first good role, and he really knocks it out of the park. He's insanely good in this. Especially I think about the 6th or 7th episode, he's wanting to cheat on his math test, and he wants Lindsay to help him. He starts simulating this version of himself, where he talks about how much impact being told that he is dumb as a kid has affected him today, and he wants to prove people wrong that he can do this, even if it means cheating as a means to get there. But then once he's confronted by his teacher and the guidance counselor, Lindsay's along for the ride, sort of. She's passively, but she's along for the ride. But then he recites the same speech that he performed to her.
That's a brilliant moment.
Yeah, she starts laughing at the absurdity of it all because when he gives that monologue to her in the first, it feels so genuine. You see,
because there is truth in it. It's just that it's performative truth. It doesn't make it any less truthful. Just makes it less genuine.
Yes,
which is so much fun.
And Lindsay starts off in the show I think really crushing hard on Daniel Desario.
You don't have to think that.
Yeah, she just is. At least the first 2 episodes. She's
and who wouldn't? My lord, James Franco, peak Franco.
I don't know if she's like necessarily at first wanting to assimilate into the freak group, but she's interested in Daniel. She's interested in change, and then she starts becoming like friends with everybody else. She starts crushing on
But I would say she definitely wants to assimilate into the freaks.
Yeah,
at that point. That's just like the romantic part that she sees within the freaks.
Yes, and she finds him to be a cool guy. I mean, a lot of the people there
Yeah.
do, even though like he's not. He's a cool guy. He's not good at school, but he's a cool guy, right? And she wants some change. And there's a moment in the pilot episode where she starts following Daniel outside to where the freaks are. I think they're smoking weed, and she stops for a moment, and then she decides to carry on and walks over there. And but eventually, as the show progresses, she stopped liking Daniel in that way, and then they just become friends. She's still friends with him, but she starts liking Daniel in that way because she realizes that he's in love with like this girl, Kim. They have this off and on again relationship.
Who Kim is probably my favorite character, but Daniel Desario, oh my god, it definitely is Franco's best performance. It's such a layered character. I mean, all the characters are so layered, but there's something about Franco's delivery in this one, right? There's something like so tragic about him because he is like the prince of a ruined kingdom. He has those looks. He has everything going for him.
But I think it's also kind of like this is probably the peak in his life.
Oh, it definitely is.
It's probably all downhill from there.
Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily great right now.
Yeah. He has a girlfriend, so he has sex, and he has the car.
Yeah. But also, what's so interesting about Daniel is that he is the one among the freaks who, at least through this like unfinished season that we have of material, he seems to know like his place. He seems to understand his like doom, destiny. There's like a wonderful episode where Nick, played by Jason Segel, is like they have a band together. How do I set this up in the most concise way?
So Nick, so the freaks have a band together, and Nick is the drummer, and Nick really wants to do well at drumming. And Nick, of course, has a crush on Lindsay, and Lindsay starts having
it is hard going character by character.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to get to the Daniel moment.
But there was this moment where Lindsay confronts Daniel about the fact that he had a little bit of a argument with Nick and the band. Because Nick and Lindsay want the band to be like this real special thing. Whereas Desario or Daniel and Ken, they just want to have fun.
Yeah, but Daniel's even more like piercing than Ken was.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Ken, yeah, we'll get to Ken. But Daniel knows that like Nick is not going to like become this professional drummer. They just want to have fun.
Yeah.
But
Daniel also knows that he's going to join the fucking military. Daniel also knows that Nick is going to join the military
because that's what his dad wants for him. And ultimately is like, Lindsay's like, well, you can't just say that. Like you don't know. You can put anything. You can do anything that you put your mind to. And Daniel's like, okay. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I know it's like projection. I'm not a James Franco type of person, but like sentimental value of this show, like in high school when I was watching it for the first time, related a lot to the freaks, to the freak group. Yes. And obviously Daniel was like what I considered to be my analog in that situation. Or in most of the episodes, especially the episode where he turns to punk rock for some kind of identity and even sees like the facile shallowness there, that he's like unaccepted there or rejected even from the rejected group.
Well, in that, what I find really interesting about that episode specifically, Daniel, the regular routine is he shows up maybe a little late for school, maybe gets into a little argument with like his girlfriend, and he's like, kind of chill about it. He's like, oh, I'm just like lazy and I'm all stupid. But in this episode, you get a little more context because he's pulled up at his house by his mother, who doesn't want him to be at school because he's 18. And she wants like, no, you're here to take care of your father who's like sick. And you just get like suddenly like it recontextualizes everything about the character in just like 30 seconds. And then like you see him go to school and it's like, oh, so this is the scenario for Desario. And he's projecting, he's performing like when he goes, and everybody's performing in their own way. They're trying to construct these identities for themselves.
Oh, absolutely. That's what coming of age is all about.
Yeah.
I was asking you, like, why do you think these teen shows are, I would even almost say almost uniquely postmodern, but like postmodernism lends itself so well to kind of like teen movies, like slashers or teen shows like these.
I think with high school specifically, falling under the kind of the postmodern condition, high school text is because at that point you're not quite an adult, but you're just not quite a kid anymore, and you start realizing that these social structures, like you're about to escape them within 3 years, but at the same time you're oppressed with these social structures, and that that are sort of like arbitrary. They're sort of like there's a power dynamic, and also like it's determining your future as an adult.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's twofold. I think it's definitely what you're saying. Like that's when you first start to identify social stratification and social caste. But I think the second part is where like postmodernism gets really interesting. Is that you can have a teenager be like almost saccharine. You can have a teenager be overly sentimental in a moment because teenagers are overly emotional. You can have a teenager be sincere and for it to mean something.
Yes.
It's more difficult to have an adult be incredibly sincere in an insincere moment. But for a kid, it's different. So you can actually bring the new sincerity into it, I think, so much easier that way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
like it doesn't feel contrived when a Dawson Leary or a Daniel Desario does something sincere or overly sentimental in a moment or performative. It feels still genuine. And like that's to me where postmodernism is supposed to go. I know like David Foster Wallace is the one I think who coined new sincerity. Could be wrong. But that's where postmodernism should go, or else you're just stuck with all these deconstructed elements.
And that's what I talk about in my video on the channel. I get into this, like we're basically like you can't just limit it just to deconstruction. There has to be some level of reconstruction or finding some like I think like even like with this like it deconstructs the nuclear family as well. You get that you get that with you get that with Kim's family. It's dysfunctional. You can't even call it a family. You get that with you know, Bill is used to this family that's broken, and like when somebody comes into life to be a father, he has trouble with that.
It's hard to go character by character.
Yes, it is. And then with Neil, he thinks he has it good, but like probably cheating on his mother. And his mother knows this.
Those are the hardest episodes for me to watch, for the Neil episodes when he gets lost. We'll get to Neil.
Yes,
we'll get to him.
But at any rate,
it breaks my heart.
But at the same time, what I'm saying is like there's still some value to be found in this structured family, especially Sam and Lindsay.
Because a teenager can be sincere. Yes. It's almost like I don't think an adult can. It would feel forced.
Also Nick's father too. Yeah.
But just to segue so we can get some progress, and then we'll go back to Desario when talking about everyone else.
Everything interconnects, which is what makes it good.
Let's just get over to my homegirl. And I'll actually be like completely open with everyone. Or no, I won't. Kim Kelly is such an interesting character.
She's an interesting character because I think like when they first conceptualized the show, I don't think she was going to be like as important as she is.
Yeah.
But then like she's just so good. Like because she's not in the opening credits.
Oh, she honestly reminds me of my mom, like in high school, from the stories I would hear about her and things like that. My mom's passed away now. Kim Kelly should be dead now too. Like Kim, like it reminds me of my mom, and it's so weird. And she also kind of looks like her. It's fucking weird. And I don't know. There's like a strong, overly sentimental attachment to that character for myself. But a good segue would be, I think, one of the most, because the things that she has with Daniel are almost all exclusively toxic. But I do like the scene where she finds out that Daniel is actually like a year older than he said that he was.
Yes,
like looking at his ID.
He's actually come back 2 years. And that's another thing about, to go back to Daniel, about him, is like, I believe that like, he could drop out because he's 18, but he actually carried on, but he performs as the kind of his burnout is just in high school, but he wants to do well in school, or at least pass. But with Kim, there's like the scene where she's like, "Oh, that makes me jail, babe."
Yeah, exactly. It's actually okay. Maybe it's still problematic, but it's such a nice scene. I love it so much.
It's high school, right? I mean,
I know. I'm just identifying that.
I mean, speaking of problematic, like James, like okay,
as a person,
well, not just yes and no, but also like the Busy Phillips, who plays Kim Kelly, and James Franco.
Oh, yeah.
They had a very like I think it really shows like even though the characters are sort of in love, this toxic relationship, but then they keep breaking up and getting back together. deconstructing, reconstructing.
Yeah.
Returning to but the actor and actress, they didn't get along. There was, and I think like the episode King Kelly is my friend, they're very like.
By the way, my favorite episode of Freak Thinking.
It's hard for me to watch.
I think it's been so confrontational.
It's a very good episode. I don't talk about it too much in my video, but it's a good episode. Really good episode. But like, hitting, like she's hitting him, and
it's a good thing.
I mean, like, he deserves it, but like. So,
well, no, I mean it's how their relationship is. Like, it's
right,
but
there's a level of raw like sincerity, not just to like the performance is really good, but also like they didn't like each other.
Yeah, but we can go down to the dive bar here in Kansas right now. I can find you that problematic couple, but that will be the like Romeo and Juliet of their weird little fucking world.
But like real life seeps into this though. You can tell they don't like each other. He knocked her down on set, and James Franco's a problematic person.
I was doing my best to cushion that.
James Franco's a problematic person, in all likelihood. You can look into that, but like the role's good, and like there's a reason why it's so good and how toxic it is, like in terms of performance.
And here's the thing, like I know that you brought it up, and I think I remember reading tue. Like they would talk about Kim Kelly as my friend. I think it's episode 3 or 4, and they're like, that's when people
number
four.
Well, like it didn't air at first. Is what
it was because it was too much. Right?
It was too much, and honestly, when I'm watching it, I thought it was too much when I first watched it. I was like, no. When I was like 16, 17, when I first watched it, I thought it was too much. But that's what I liked about it.
Exactly. That's when the show changes for me. It's a great show for the first 3 episodes, but number 4, that Kim Kelly is my friend.
It's like anxiety inducing, and you start knowing all this about because Kim at first is like bullying Lindsay. Like she's kind of like the last
It's when I think she's fully ingratiated into the group when Kim Kelly is my friend.
Yes. And
it could be called I'm a Freak now. Like
it's almost like because she's first sympathizing, she realizes first it's not just that she also bullies Sam, her brother. And
I love that she freaks out on like Rashida Jones and the very bit part sucking on James Franco's finger like
I said toxic. It's such I mean like but that's what high school is, people get into relationships that they don't belong in.
Well, that's another thing. I guess like a teenager can be like overly sincere or sentimental, or a teenager could be directly problematic, and it feels a little different. It doesn't feel like we're playing for keeps.
Yes. And one thing that I find interesting with the series, and this comes with like start off with the guidance counselor, people give each other bad advice sometimes, and then the show is far enough where the viewer can infer right from wrong. It's depicting like social dynamics and how people do interact with each other for better or for worse, and that's what I really like about it. I mean, like ultimately, Lindsay is in some ways throwing her life away. She's burning herself, but in other ways, she's also improving herself. So, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it depends on how you feel. Like, like as a teen, like I can still relate to that part of Lindsay that is starting to recognize like the postmodern truths of her work. Like what are you to do there? Well, we're gonna keep going back to Lindsay because what's most fascinating is how each character interacts with Lindsay. Like I even like the episode. I love every Kim Kelly episode. Literally my favorite character. But like the one where her parents like call her a slut or something. Or like read her diary or something. Like but.
Just wants to do drugs and have sex.
But there's something so pure in every episode of like, hey Kim, you want to hang out at my house? What about your mom and dad? Who cares if they like? I don't know why, but it's so powerful.
It is, and it's true to life in a way. It's like no, these are my friends, and you're not gonna like stop me from being a friend with them. And there's value at sea. And that's another thing. It's not just like she wants to just be bad. She sees goodness within these people because there is.
Oh no, there absolutely is.
Within these characters, and if anything, like she's actually there's in the episode Looks and Books when she is no longer she decides to take a break from the Freak Group because she got into this accident that came about from being with them so much, and in the process of her absence, Kim starts realizing, you know what, maybe I should be a bit more like Lindsay. Maybe we all should be. And so she's like, you need to see like this foreign film. Ken is the one that's not exactly like.
Yeah, but Ken has the best like All right, fine. We'll watch the subtitle movie so long as it's not about a guy who likes to talk a lot. Like, that's a great Rogan joke. Oh my God, that was so good. That fucking killed me. But they're trying to like have some, like, I love when they're at the mathlete, like they accidentally run into each other at the mathlete.
Oh no, she came there to support her, but she
Yeah, but Nick is there though.
Nick,
Like they're both not expecting to see each other.
Yeah, because Nick was sort of like in and out of the group, sort of because of Lindsay.
But Nick is so let's say Nick is next. Let's save Nick. He's so delusional, but at the end of that episode, he's like, you know what, Lindsay? We can hang out.
Well, I would argue he's not actually delusional. He's
I think
he's projecting.
He's the most moronic out of every character.
Absolutely, but I think he's projecting. I think he's like.
No, I think he's that stupid and high. I literally think he's an idiot.
There's definitely parts to that. There's truth to that.
I think he's a complete moron.
Okay.
But to go to the original, like all the way back to when we started Kim Kelly, I think you were about to say like she probably wasn't supposed to be such a large character as she was. She had such a presence on the show. Yep. Right, justice for Kim Kelly. She deserves to be in that opening credit sequence. She deserves to be there, getting her picture taken with everybody else instead of.
To be fair, Kim Kelly would be the type of person to skip the photo shoot. To be fair, but at the same time, it's just like the like.
Well, I want to see her slap Daniel.
I know season 2 would have her if they did a season 2, but they didn't.
Yeah, they can't.
But like, she's like, I mean, at least
it's just she's there from the first episode. She's in more episodes than Seth Rogen.
Yeah, Seth Rogen's like absent in several.
Yeah,
like. And it's fine, but like, come on. Yeah, but Kim is great.
Kim is absolutely my favorite character here because she's not only compelling, but she's like difficult. She's difficult to endure sometimes. It makes it hard. It makes it confrontational and not just pretty, just confrontational. You know, like I like that in a teen show. And also, you know, Dawson's Creek, like she was a star on the final season and a guest star on season 5. See, they did the Freaks and Geeks thing too. Of course, she was in like every episode of season 5.
Oh no!
Made her a star in season 6, and Seth Rogen was actually in an episode of season 6 with Busy Phillips. Yeah, it was a nice little reunion. But Nick is a fucking moron. We're on Nick now.
Okay, I think we may have slight disagreements on Nick because I've been thinking about this in one of my videos. Thinking about this, I don't know how much of it is just genuine goofiness, where he's like, and how much of it is like performative. Obviously, when he breaks up with Lindsay, it's performative. Because
he's so high, he can't have normal things.
Right. But it's performative in the sense that he knows that she's going to break up with him, or thinks that she will. I think at that point she's kind of having doubts. But he breaks up with her, and actually that's like he's the one that's in control when he's not. And I feel like that's how it is with the relationship all throughout. And so when he's saying something like, "Oh, I'm glad that you're getting over me," like he's projecting.
He's also delusional and stupid and a sellout. He betrays the Geeks in the final episode.
Yeah.
He betrays them. Goes to the discotheque. He goes discoing. And that's Ken gets to be like awesome in the final episode. Fuck Nick. He's a sellout. He was gonna join the army or military, navy, whatever. It's all the same to me.
I get it's another social structure, right?
It's another social structure, right?
Yeah,
Desario knew it. Desario knew he was gonna be a sellout, and in the very last episode, Nick just sells out his crew for his stupid little outfit. And is he hanging out with like Lizzie Kaplan there? I don't remember if he was hanging out with.
Yeah, he had a new girlfriend, and she was probably good for him, but at the same time, like it's obvious that he's
good for him in the established way.
Also, another thing, like he's like, it's not just him, like, oh, I'm moving on, but also it's like, you told me to move on. I'm following you. I don't know.
But some solidarity, like we're gonna. How do we always go to the one who's next, like so quickly? I'm not going to Seth Rogen yet, but he comes from a rich family and he's still like being a freak. He's not selling them out down the river.
Yeah, he's just kind of. Well, but
I consider that such a betrayal. I consider that like a fucking Shakespearean
But it's in line with his character.
Yeah, because he's an idiot. And I wanted to say this because like it's difficult for me to articulate my feelings on Nick because I think he's a phenomenal character on the show. He's so hilarious when John Bonham dies and he acts like it's the fucking worst thing in the world. Like his dad died. Like, oh my God, that's so great. And Jason Segel killing it.
Also, the way he's like around with Lindsay, he's like uncomfortably close. And like, and also like she does you like kind of like warming up, like, okay, maybe it's time for me to have sex. But then he's like, I just want to hold you. And it's that subversion and it's good. And it's like, and it's also like he's trying to respect it. It's weird. He's not a very good boyfriend. He's like with fire all the time, and it's not like.
Well, as you've told me, the opening credits tells you so much about the characters that are there. What is Nick doing there? Being fucking high. The reddest eyes you've ever seen is.
Yeah, well, that's one thing about the opening credits. I wish that 50 Phillips was there as Kim Kelly. But at any rate, you get to know so much of the characters because, and I don't talk about this in my video, I sort of wish I did, but like you get how they are when they prepare for the camera, when the picture snaps, and then after the fact. You get like a sense of how they all perform in their own ways. You know, Martin Starr's like, and then like, you know, there's a level of insecurity there, and Sam is like kind of like chaotic and he doesn't know what he's doing. You know, Desario is like, you get so much about the characters, but with
Rogan just.
yes, but you get everything you need to know about. Yeah. Well, not him, but you know what I mean. Like you get to know the characters through this opening. But Nick is just like this. He's just fine.
No, delusion is a huge part of his character, yes. Or else he wouldn't think that he was fucking Neil Peart from Rush in that scene. Like he thinks he's a phenomenal drummer, and I love that scene where he tries out for the band, and he's like not terrible, but he's not good. He is not a good drummer. He's delusional. He thinks that he's fucking Neil Peart from Rush. He has like a 20-piece drum set, and he only uses 3 parts.
And Lindsay, who comes from privilege, like thinks, oh, you can do this.
Yeah. And I love that, like, there's always that extra jab that makes me think of Apatow every time, because not only does he suck and like they're making fun of him a little bit, but the other band members are like giving Lindsay like hitting on her in a way. Like there's always that extra jab that makes me think of Apatow, like, oh, this goes deeper than it should.
And well, I think everything within the show is deeper than the surface level. I mean, I don't think that they were even thinking of this as like postmodern, but it's totally a post-structuralist, like deconstructionist. Like, you know, it's great. It's great. Ken.
No, I want to hear you talk about Ken.
Okay.
You start, Ken.
Okay, so Ken.
That started Nick with, he's a fucking idiot.
Ken? so something I like about Ken is like, he's kind of like the tall, big, quiet guy that is just like within these different friend groups. You know, he hangs out, he's interested in music, you know, he smokes weed too, but he kind of, I think like relatively, he actually has a little bit
back on the charger. Keep talking.
He has so he has a little bit of promise relative to the other freaks. I think I think he's also coming from a place of privilege. He doesn't really have he was parented by his nanny, right?
Yeah.
It's revealed towards the end of the series that he was, and he's not really. He didn't really think bad about his parents, but it's just like he didn't want to have that connection. So he's quiet. He's sheltered until he gets a girlfriend. But and even like whenever there's a conflict between Lindsay and like the freak groups, like he's just kind of like, what was that about? Then also like she's like, can I come with you? Like, I don't know, can we borrow your dad's car again? And like, you know, like it's uncomfortable, but
we all had one of those in our friend groups. I'm
he's out of the loop. He's out of the loop, and he's like, but also like he sort of makes something worse. He does.
Oh, I think he's the most intelligent of the three.
But he's intelligent, but he's also sort of like he's sort of like
he's the only guy who can pass the pop quiz. I'm telling you.
Like, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think like he's probably not like necessarily the best in school, but he's not. I feel like he has the most.
They're not the best, but like
for the freaks maybe.
There's an intelligence to his delivery. Like all of his jokes are so biting and also witty that like they're deliberately, I think, structured in a more sophisticated way than any of the other freaks jokes, which are like bottom of the barrel, like stoner comedy, where I think that like Seth Rogen's the lines he got to speak in it's hard to speak about him because he doesn't get any good character moment until like episode 15. Like, well,
yes,
hard.
Yes.
But the few times he does speak, it's like, can we borrow your dad's car again?
Yes, that kind of I think that with him, he's almost like this several episodes he's not even in it. And it's like and that's his first acting role. Like that was like his like second audition or something when he came onto that show. And he just befriended people like James Franco.
Judd Apatow is more important.
At least at the time. They're not friends now.
Apatow is a more important friend to have.
Yes. Yes. And so they didn't really know what to do with him, and he kind of was quiet because he was kind of being himself in a way. But then as the time went on, they kind of figured him out a bit more. Also another great moment. There was this moment where Nick wants to sing like the song to Lindsay. It's like Lady L, and Ken is like, don't do it. Don't do it. And then he breaks, and like he's about to do it, and then he breaks like Nick's guitar.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but there's the thing about him, like it takes a while to really develop the character. It's not until like he reveals that he has a crush on the tuba girl Amy, um, and you get to know more about his character. First, he's shy when it comes to girls, right? But he also like is like determined, like I want to be with her. So there's this moment, I don't know what to say here either, but there's this moment where he like looks at her when during the light show and is like, I want to kiss you. And then she's like, oh. But then you get to know a bit more about her as you know, as the story kind of comes to a close because the second last episode, and you find out that she's actually intersex. And he has a bit of a he's opening up to her, but he's also like is challenged by the fact that, oh, the life that I know, like things aren't like don't fit this heteronormative, cisnormative, and intersex normative like kind of the paradigms that he's used to. And that's again like it's deconstructing like man and woman. I mean, like Amy's the woman as far as gender is concerned, but like the film is, or sorry, the series, it addresses like things that are underpinning life that people don't really talk about.
Absolutely.
And like I can't even think of like I mean there's a bit more trans representation now, but I can't think of much like intersex representation.
No, I'm pretty much an expert on shows from this exact era. No, this is pretty wild.
Yeah, it was wild. I think like at that point they knew that they're gonna get canceled.
And it wasn't framed as like a story of the week kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not,
because like you can get like a Degrassi episode and like deal with similar situations. So that's like soap opera.
Ken is
done genuinely.
Ken is the one that's like at fault in the moment, but I mean, like, but from his point of view, it's like it's just like taking it back, like because his understanding of the world and its social structures are challenged.
And in fact, trans representation and stuff up at any sort of
like
any sort of stuff like that would have been done either in a very tone deaf and possibly morbid way, or in a way that was like deliberately shocking.
Like for the most part, I think the trans representation in Twin Peaks wasn't too bad, but like,
well, I'm thinking of like the other, like Cherry Falls came out in 2000, The Killer of Club, it's a severely gay coded.
And then it's like that's
which I love the film, but
it's like it's a limitation.
Well, that's the problem. Like, I can't tell if that Cherry Falls particularly a satire. That's another way they would use it as satire.
Yeah, but then also
they would do the postmodernism wrong because like before normalizing something and then satirizing it, they would satirize it before they normalized it. Unlike in Freaks and Geeks, where it's like it's a normalized. Well, there's a beautiful conversation that he has with Sam in that episode, right? Sam's going through his own thing.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Sam wants to.
My girlfriend loves the truth. So pure. That is so pure, dude. I want to cry over that. Dude.
Yes, like Sam is like listing off all these things that he's like nervous to break up with his girlfriend, and Ken is like realize, and Ken wants to break up with his girlfriend because he's uncomfortable with the fact that she's intersex. But then he realizes like, wait, I want to be with her.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be with her, and then like, there's also this moment where he apologizes to her.
What about the moment? Okay, no, go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I feel like you're doing the good insight on this moment.
There's this moment. Well, I thought about this a bit, and like there's this moment where he actually just flat out says like in the simplest way possible, I'm sorry, I don't care, and I'm so sorry. That said everything you need to know. You know, she smiles, they hug, they kiss, and then it's like, hey, listen, like I just didn't realize that like there's larger things in this world than I thought, and now I realize that there is, and it's like, hey, you're a woman. Like,
I mean, it deconstructs the soap opera in one episode there, because every single time you would assume there'd be like a cliched problem. If there's not one. I was going to say, remember the time where he's explaining it to Daniel and Nick, and they're both like, whatever.
Well, yeah, they joke about it. It's like, does this mean you're gay? And he's like, I don't know. And there's like, I was kidding. And then it's like, oh. And like the problem is Ken. I mean, they joke about it. I mean, that's guy.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, guy. This is how it is. And like this is like 1980, or maybe at that point it's 81. But like at any rate, like as far and like they're accepting. And then like there's also this moment where because Ken discloses information even though he wasn't supposed to. And there's this moment where he and Amy show up to the Freaks. And Daniel says, "Hey guys," and he was like been thinking about it a lot. He's like, "What do you mean by that?" And it's a simple like gender
Yeah,
neutral like hey guys.
Yeah.
But by saying guys, he thought maybe Daniel was poking at the fact that she's intersex.
Well, good. That's just or Ken's being hyper insecure.
He's being hyper insecure, but then like she's thrown off, and then like he hits Daniel. Daniel's like cool with it because he understands.
Yeah.
And Lindsay and Kim are like, what's going on? Because they don't know about any of it. But like at the end of the day, like as far as like I mean, like I think it's like just from what I've seen. Honestly, I'm sure there are some things, but I really can't think of like intersex representation in media that I've seen.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult.
Like, and I think like I mean I'm not intersex, but like as far as I know, like it's good. Like,
no, I think it's completely
like especially from '99.
Oh yeah.
Like come on.
And it's so forward thinking in that respect that it's outrageous, and it's also like dueling with deconstructing the soap opera of it.
Yes,
because I think
it's almost deconstructing like a nation.
Yeah,
like yeah.
And here's what I also love about Ken is that like he's a great representation about postmodernism, like the misfits, like they don't pick favorites. Existential crises come to everyone from every class, because we're led to believe he's from a like even better off than Lindsay, right? Like
there's him, but they don't really go in depth about it.
He's certainly wealthier than Daniel and Nick. And Ken.
Absolutely. Or yeah, well, not one that Kim could use, but
Kim.
Okay.
Kim.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Kim doesn't even have an entire account. It's like
our hero, but. No, Ken. Like,
it does show that. Like, he said in life he's just going to wait for his dad to die and then he inherits his company. But that's what he says.
But I also think that that's like so cool in the way that like Nick betrays the Geeks, and I don't think Ken ever fucking would. Yeah, he chooses to live that life. Like Daniel does not choose to live that lifestyle. Kim does not choose to be a freak. They're freaks by birth. Ken is like Lindsay and chooses it.
He's calling out like Nick's like hypocrisy, and maybe there's some level of truth to Nick's change, but at the same time, like Ken's like, this is killing me. Like this isn't you. Mm-hmm. Like and I don't know. It's interesting because he's smarter than he on, but I feel like towards like once he gets into that relationship with Amy, I think like that he's a bit more.
Oh, he's definitely smarter than he's on.
No. He comes out of his shell in general.
Yeah. But even in those episodes before the relationship, like since they, like as you pointed out, they might not have known how to write for Rogan, it still seems like he's internalizing a lot. Like he has like a lot of thoughts behind that brain. I don't think Nick does. I don't really think Daniel does too much. Like Ken does. Ken has things he's thinking about. And I wish we could have gotten more episodes to see exactly what Ken thinks about his social situation, or like what he thinks of Kim's home relationship.
This is true for like the party episode where they're drinking beer and they think they're drinking. Again, simulated experiences.
And he knows it's fake beer.
Yeah. He's
smart as fuck.
He's through that.
And he's cool with it. I think the most money I've ever played, like most money I've ever made.
There's moments. I think this is a good segue to Sam. Like there's moments like not just like towards the end, but he also has like a moment with Sam towards the beginning of the series where it's just like where Sam is like, hey Ken, like can you take care of like Lindsay? Or like you take care of my sister, like which one's your sister? So like he's sort of aloof, but then also like he's paradoxical in a way, and I like that about
like the first time you meet Kim, isn't she like gonna beat the shit out of Sam? Like isn't she bullying Sam?
Yeah, she even like kind of like she's close to him and like, do you want to be like my boyfriend? And like she's tormenting it, and Sam's like, I don't know. I think it's interesting talking about Sam. Yes, he's infatuated, and we're talking about Sam now. Yeah, but Sam's great. Okay, I feel bad for Dally because like they picked him right before puberty, like just on the brink, and it shows. And I feel bad for him. And maybe if they got more seasons, there's more justice.
It would have been wild seeing that kid grow.
Yes. Okay. But the thing about him is, what I know, as much as infatuated as he is with Cindy, the cheerleader, he whenever there's like some kind of like sexual or like dynamic with him, he acts out kind of like a really uncomfortable, partially because like he's on the brink of puberty, but also like there's like just like the level of like just in general like sexual discomfort, the way that Kim's like approaching him is it like we can be friends. Is it like he doesn't know how to process it, But then also like when he talks about like Cindy, like he's like I have to kiss her, and like oh it's a hickey. He doesn't really. I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but like there's something to it. I'm not saying that he would turn out gay.
No, I mean that is a trope, not
But
the gay trope.
I have seen some people argue that they think that Sam would have been gay. Like I don't know if I entirely agree with it, but because like the romance with like Cindy is not really sexual based. Really, he doesn't even. He feels like when she kisses him, it's like it's almost like triumph because it is socially.
Yeah.
But then also like he's like totally uncomfortable. And
I mean, it's purely infatuated with Cindy. Though,
yes, he is. But as far as I'm concerned, it's more like it largely relates to like social dynamics. Like when he's with her.
It's not just her. My favorite episode with the Geeks is when like the hot new girl who like hangs out with them. One of the actors from the Vampire Diaries, and I only know that because she's in my video on the Vampire Diaries. She's part of the clip I used at the beginning. She's dancing around in her underwear with like Ian Somerhalder's hands.
Oh, really?
Beautiful.
So yeah, Marine.
But I love that episode.
Yeah.
Like you want to talk about postmodernism in a nutshell, and boom, there it is. Like holy shit! Like it's a tragedy.
I talked about that in my video.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
But they were all infatuated with her.
They're infatuated.
It's difficult to determine a character's sexuality.
Yeah, and also like especially because he's like on the brink of puberty.
Because I think we're at sexual awakening as opposed to
yes. So it's difficult.
And that's the trope I'm talking about.
Yes.
Like, that trope has been in a lot of teen things. Like even Spring Awakening had Mort Stiefel, who was like so sexually frustrated and confused about like what he was supposed to be attracted to. He like shot himself in the mouth or the head or something. Like it's a trope in teen stuff. Like the kid who like is really, really sexually like confused and frustrated. Yeah, could possibly be gay or asexual or anything. Straight. Could be anything.
I'm curious what they were going to do with him. Like once he actually hit puberty. Like once he's like enough. Yeah. So, but like, but the thing about him, like regardless of like how much of that drive is in that infatuation, like his infatuation with Cindy, that cheerleader, is strong. And there's always like hey Sam. Hey Cindy, oh hi Cindy, yeah, and it's really nice, it's really sweet, and especially like towards in the pilot, like when he dances with her, it's great, but she's like almost like put on this pedestal as like this goddess, not just by him but also by, well, more so Neil, but like and Neil's that way with the cheerleaders in general, like they're above us, and that's the social hierarchy. But Sam is like, I think I could maybe be with her because she seems to like me, But once he actually gets with her, because he's lucky, but she also just jumps from one relationship to another. First, he is like her sister, and is like it's just like a good friend. She friend zones him. That's what friend zoning is. But then like right after that relationship with the jock, like fails, she's like, oh, Todd is just a jerk. Even though before she was like, don't call him a jerk. But then she was like, damn, you're a really nice guy. I'll be with you. It's totally rebound. And it's not just rebound, it's also just like, it's manipulative. And yes, again, that's what happens within, as a teenager, you learn. I mean, like, it makes sense. It happens. And maybe if they made more episodes, she would have evolved if they put her in it more. But you get her as this idealized form, and then she is deconstructed. And that's what I love about Cindy as a character, or if you can call her that, like in relationship with Sam, because it kind of just shows how malleable and artificial and superficial, like the popular cheerleader and jock, like social clique in the group is. And also like Marine, the transfer student, she's like friends with them, and then she's like, oh, the cheerleaders want me to be friends with them, and she's like, you don't have to always sit here. So she's like inviting them to like break like the social structure. And they're like, no, we like it here. They're like, there's like this paradoxical relationship.
Like that's so perfect.
There's a paradoxical relationship, but then Sam like assimilates into that space, and he just realizes like this is boring. Like he goes on a date with Cindy and she's like, this movie isn't funny. And also, like at the same time, they reveal that she's Republican. They don't mention it before, then so she's Republican, and then like this is making sense. I mean, like it's a it's liberal in the sense of like Democrat Republican dynamics, and like it's really fascinating. And Sam doesn't care about like college. He doesn't even know what it means. It's fine. He's a kid. But the way at the end of the day, like he realizes that like the people that he should be around isn't like Indy or any of these people that can Star Wars. It's the geeks. It's the geeks. Like he has his friends, Bill and Neil, and they're as geeky as they can be.
Well, since we're here, how do you feel about Sam and Lindsay's relationship?
Oh, as brother, I think like there's a lot of good moments with them, especially like in the episode I think it's called Girlfriends and Boyfriends, like the one where Nick is like coming on to Lindsay like way too much, like to unsettling degree. Like she comes home right as Sam comes home, like after being kind of friend zoned, and there's a sweet moment where like it's just them together and they talk about how like the parents are weird and it's just like they share like snacks together, and then she gives him a little bit of advice, or not really advice, but just like there's a shared sympathy where like Nick is too much into her and Cindy isn't into him enough, and there's a shared dynamic, and there's this moment where like he is on the phone with Cindy when she's talking about Todd, and like he wraps around the phone cord around his neck to like to like fake like and then she like eats like the ho like next to him, and kind of it's a really brother and sister relationship. It's funny because like she's supposed to be like 2 years older. Actually, the actress is 10 years older. She was 24 or 5 when she was playing that role.
Oh well.
Yeah, but she sells it really well. But the dynamic also is interesting because like in some ways being with the freaks and trying to fit in with them, it harms her relationship with her brother. But like there's really good moments with her brother, but like towards the beginning, for example, when she's really trying to fit in the Halloween episode, she accidentally throws eggs at him.
And it's those tragic moments that stand out to me. Like remember earlier when you talked about Lindsay revealing to Sam what like her grandmother about her grandmother's death, and Sam he internalizes it, he listens to it, but like his response is something like, "I should go do the dishes." It's something
no. So do you think it could beat up Alan, the bully? And the bully is deconstructed too.
Yeah, yes, but still, that's such a good line. But it's so arbitrary and tragic because it's a missed moment, but you see that Sam cares about what she said, but he doesn't want to.
He doesn't know how to confront it.
Yeah.
Because he's not mature, and that's fine.
That's part of his character. He doesn't know how to confront anything, but he's a kid. I'm not saying that in a cowardly way.
He's 14 and he has a little bit of late bloomer.
Well, I mean, with maturity comes like courage as well, and comes like understanding of how to handle situations. So I don't think it's just sex he doesn't know how to understand. I think it's
but he really does mature in the series. That like he like just within that first season, like he advances as a person. He he gets the girl and then realizes but it was really mature about him. Just like he realizes this thing's beyond the matter, beyond the social flex. And it's like, no, I want to be with her. And there was a really good moment between him and Lindsay. He was like, I can't break up with Cindy Sanders, and Lindsay's like, why? It's like, because everybody think I'm crazy. It's like, so what? And it's like, there's a lot of dynamic too there. I think as the series progresses, I think Lindsay, in a way, she becomes more involved with the freaks, but it's more organic, where she's still able to do her school and stuff, and she's not like acting up like too much, and like she has a fairly healthy relationship with her brother after a certain point. But also, she sort of becomes a little disillusioned with the freaks a little bit, especially she kind of revealed to Neil's brother Barry that like they don't really inspire her enough, that they don't encourage her to advance as a person.
I think that's such a selfish statement.
I think she actually said that she's selfish. Okay. In that respect, but it's a good moment. There's a lot of moments.
But like Ken would never say that. Daniel would never say, like, they don't need inspiration.
But I think that she definitely inspires them. Lindsay does.
He does, yeah.
Yeah,
she inspires them, and it kind of ruins them all.
Yeah.
Well, they were fine before she fucking came along.
Yes, but Daniel's also like, I think Daniel. There's like a hint at hope for Daniel at the end, but we don't. It may be false.
It's false hope. You're not gonna hang out with. I do like that they planted the D&D seed like early in the season when he's interested in the long-haired
Harry?
hair, I don't know,
Harriet?
glasses.
Yeah.
And he's reading a D&D book, and like he asks a few questions about it before going off into like the major plot point of the.
Yeah, that's why he invites him later. Like,
So that's awesome. That's cool. That was actually pre-thought.
We've got a lot of relationships. Back to yeah, good stuff. When he comes home like egged by sister by accident, which she thought she somebody else, and when she comes home, they ask like who, his parents ask like who did it, and he's like some jerk. So he's like putting Lindsay down without actually like revealing to in some ways like she wants her to know that that's big time, but also he is saving her, and it's so good. And this is in episode 3. Also, like he's like protective of his sister in some ways, like because he asks her like why she's throwing her life away. Millie encourages him to do that, but he said that like just because like she told him to say that doesn't mean that he's not also thinking it. And when it comes to the beer party, he's like extra scared about the alcohol because people know like the movies, about like how like alcohol can like parties can go out of hand.
Yeah.
What's funny is not only do they just have fake beer, but they also have the placebo effect of drinking beer where they all act drunk and still nothing happens. There's nothing significant. He's like putting like his mother's face and stuff like on like the bed and like it's good. But like also Sam's relationship with the geeks, it is. I feel like there's a stronger bond between them than there is the Freaks. I think the Freaks is destined to crumble. You think so?
Oh yeah.
Why's that?
They're just gonna get older and grow apart. That's how the show is gonna end.
Yeah.
I'm sure. The Geeks are just as fragile as.
Well, yeah. Also, like, there's moments, and I love Sam, but also like he's selfish sometimes. But like there's like moments where he's just kind of fighting with like his friends. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. We're just like, oh, but still, there is at least in the moment there is that
And
bond.
in season 2, the Freaks will get back together.
Also, like they gave up like on trying to find find the right garage door. They kind of left Neil alone.
Are we on to Neil?
Yeah, Neil. What do you think of him?
I fucking like Neil. Neil's hard to talk about. He's so intense.
He's like okay, like aside from those.
By the way, Sam Levine is his name. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Great job. Great job. When I say a character irritates me, I mean it, like honestly, the actors and the writers did such a good job at making that character in a certain way. This guy, I have trouble talking about Neil. Mostly because like I said, he's so intense. Like I can't really watch the episodes with him and the fucking dummy. I can't. It's hard. They're hard to watch.
But like the garage door and also the
yeah, I can't watch any of his father cheating episodes. Like they're too much.
It's so good though.
They're good, but they're like
so good.
they're piercing. They're apatow. They're like
and like
too much.
his relationship with his mom, with his dad, with his brother. His brother is great. I really wish there was a second season just because I would hope that brother would come back. Like I think it's that good. Like he's that intense of a role. And I think like his presence with Lindsay, like after that, Lindsay's a little more passive around the Freaks. Besides Kim, she's kind of more friends with Kim. And like I think like by the end of that, like the Freaks kind not entirely, but they kind of break up. Like Kim is no longer with Daniel, and they may get back together.
They will. That's how they do it.
But like the end of the school year, right? Because they're gonna go to. But Kim and like Daniel, at least at the moment, is with the Geeks. Nick sold out. Lindsay, but also like when Nick was saying that, like
just begin at the cafeteria.
Well, you know that after like she meets up with Barry, like when Nick stays at her house, like it's almost like she's like kind of like distant in a way, and not just because like they had previously dated, but also because like just had a little bit of that with the Freaks, at least the guys. But then in the end, like she befriends Kim, who was her bully at first.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like ultimately like her best friend in the end. And that's interesting. And I feel like there would have been something similar with that, and Sam and maybe Bill with the bully Alan. And maybe Neil too, because there's a moment where like you know I've heard some people like kind of complain that this is a little unrealistic that he would have like gave Bill like peanuts when he knows the allergy. But the thing is, in the 80s, or definitely like in the 70s, like a lot of allergies, like what was known wasn't like that like well documented, and a lot of people just didn't take it seriously. So, and if you really thought it was like if you really thought like it was like it was lying, you probably would have done that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought it was
but
unrealistic.
Some people have said that, but I think they're not putting in the right context.
They're deliberately looking for something.
Yeah, but I just want to say that
I've seen some mean bullies in school. Like,
but also he knows that he went too far afterwards, and like, but he sort of wishes to be with them, but then he almost goes with it to the nerd convention with them, and he's like, I can't.
Also, Neil's a fucking pervert, dude. I don't like Neil, actually.
Oh, back to Neil, yeah.
I'm thinking of the fucking time that Daniel Desario gave them a porno reel.
He was like really into it.
He was the only one who like moved closer. Everyone else moved away.
Bill was kind of like, huh.
Okay. Yeah, Bill was the middle. Sam was petrified.
If I remember it, Bill's mother is or was a stripper, and so he's kind of like it's not entirely like he may not be around that, but like he. It's not completely foreign.
Sam is the most toxically masculine out of everybody.
You mean Neil?
Neil.
Yeah.
Sorry, Neil is.
Yeah.
Completely.
Sam is probably like.
How about the scene where he's in the? I'm Jewish. How about the scene where he's in the kitchen with the fucking one black kid in school apparently, and he's like, "I know what you're going through. I know everything about it."
That scene was originally longer. Like,
thank God it's shorter.
They built the Jews built the pyramids, and like, well, and the black kid says like, well, that was way in history. Like, that doesn't make the bricks any lighter.
Oh my God.
That was a deleted scene. I kind of like it's cringe, but I think that's like there's some stuff here about the Jewish identity, but I think like, and this is I'm not really,
which the Jewish identity was more taboo in the 80s. Now it's a different story.
Yeah, there's some stuff here in the series overall about the Jewish identity. I kind of wish there was a bit more about racial politics in general, but I feel
we would have got that.
We would have got that. But they still like hinted at something.
Desario would have gotten a black girl.
It could be. Yeah, I could see that.
Maybe that's my own fan. Fucking my fanfic.
But like, okay, but Neil, but in those like I feel like sometimes like he can be kind of like a jerk to his friends sometimes, and sort of selfish, and also like really intense, but also like still like he's sort of like narcissistic, but it's also sort of like an inferiority complex.
Yeah, but it's hard to even like, I see what
he's short, he's like picked on, and also like he's kind of cringe.
Yeah, but yeah, they're all the geeks are cringe.
But he's like, but I am cool. But he's like narcissistic. But it's almost like that's kind of like a mask. But in the garage door episode where he like found out his dad's cheating, because someone like his understanding of the family structure is completely thrown out the window, and he's like, "Oh, my dad's cheating," and then he needs to confirm it. And but it's really sad because like because he found the clicker belonging to his affair, to his dad's affair in his dad's car. So he starts like going around the neighborhood, like looking at the different garage doors to see like does it go to somebody else or is this like just an extra? He needs to confirm it, but when he finally finds the right door when he's alone, the garage door goes up and his dad is there at that moment, like in his car truck. He throws it. It's so sad, and then they just pop it. They make it even more intense with when he has the ventriloquist dummy and he's like laughing at his father. And then he's like, he told his brother, no, we're not telling her because we need to preserve this structure. It's all about social structures. And then he finally reveals it to his mom, and his mom's like, and it's almost like the whole thing is performative for to protect Neil, and he breaks down in tears. It's very good.
It's hard to watch.
Well, I find Kim Kelly.
That's harder to watch. Kim Kelly's perfect. And I like that confrontation. I don't. The Neil stuff is harder for me to watch for sure.
It was interesting. I mean, they're both confrontational, and they're both really good. But then also like this is a bit more easy to watch in my opinion. But with Bill.
Bill is just a joy. Bill is the most recognizable part of the show.
He's so fun, but like there's this moment. It's sort of an inverse where he's like so used to like the broken family, where it's like he comes home alone, he watches Scary Family, and like eats his sandwiches. But then like his mom, the coach who he hates, not completely for arbitrary reasons, but also just because the coach didn't see him
as masculine.
he doesn't see him as masculine, and he's a very like macho guy, but also like he loves his mother, and he wants to do well. It's a great scene.
He wants to have the opportunity to do
Yes,
that.
but
like the whole thing about him wanting to pick for the baseball thing, he just wants an opportunity to like be good.
But once like he invades, or at least in Bill's mind, Coach Fredericks invades Bill's safe at the home, staying overnight. He starts like he feels like disrespected, but like the structure that he's used to is infringed upon. So when he is in gym class, for me, like he lashes out and he's like, "You can't tell me what to do." Just walks out, and it's like, and like Alan is trying to interject, like yeah, get him, and he's like, "Shut up, Alan." And it's so powerful.
It might be easy to say that Franco gives the best performance here, but Bill is the character. It's hard for me to even see Martin Starr outside of it. He's such a great actor. He actually is. On shows like Party Down, movies like Veronica Mars, he's amazing.
He's bus driver and like
come
on, what are you doing? Hey, that's a difference between Paul Feig and
when I see Desario, I do see James Franco. When I see Bill, I don't see Martin Starr. I see fucking Bill Haverchuck.
He's so good, and also like leading up to the opening part where the characters is like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I love your mom, and Bill knows that he's telling the truth, but he's like, he's used to it. Something.
And I don't blame him because
he breaks down in tears. It's so powerful. It's so good.
And I love that too. And that the episode you're talking about, when it shows him just having fun watching TV, like when it plays like I think a Who song, like in a montage over him, like the king of the castle, the male of the household, like, and then
also, but then later on, like when Coach Fredericks is like in that space he's taking on, he is actually like drinking coffee out of Bill's mug. That's so good.
Let's grab another coffee.
Yeah, it's just like it's so powerful. Watch the series.
It is. Like, Bill Haverchuck is
he's totally the face of the series.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, he's the most recognizable part of it. It is Bill.
So many people, like when you think of like the Geek, you think it.
Yeah. When I think of the show, I think him, to be perfectly honest. Like
Lindsay
powerful too, but Martin got that.
Franco is
but well, that just goes to show the quality of the characters. But it's Bill. Like I do still see Cardellini when I see Lindsay. I don't see Martin Starr at all.
And Franco's Franco, of course.
Franco's Franco. Rogan's Rogan. Martin Starr is Bill Haverchuck. Maybe that's the best thing I can say there. Like for Bill is a phenomenal character, probably the funniest character on the show too. Like no fucking lie. I don't even know if half of his lines are supposed to be as funny as they were.
Awkward. Like there's like this one moment where he's like, I don't want to. He tells like his teacher, like, I don't want to be called a geek. Then right afterwards, he's like, you got to look for the sci-fi convention.
Or like when Sam's like buying like new clothes to try to be like cool and adult, and Bill's got like a hot dog or a corn dog in his hand.
Pretzel.
Like you can't come into the store with that. What? Okay, fine. And like it shoves it all into like every little thing Bill does is fucking perfect. There's not a wasted frame when there's Bill Haverchuck there.
He
best thing to say for
awkwardness.
No, yeah, or it wants to have the opportunity to be met.
Yes,
I think it's a focus on masculinity.
Well, that's also like Coach Fredericks is like
he is the broken home kid.
Yes, and Coach Fredericks gets like prank called by him, and he's like, and he gets so mad, but then you realize it was Bill because like you don't know this at the time, but he's like getting it on. And
each of these people focus on different like established orders that they get
disenchanted
with.
That's what I'm saying. And
if it's Bill, it's definitely masculinity. Right. Which doesn't make Bill less masculine. He just has a different way of expressing his masculinity, and he wants to have the opportunity to show that.
I feel like if the series continued, and I think Paul Feig said something about this, he wanted him to become more of a job. Makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. This one, Martin Starr makes me laugh my fucking ass off. The episode where they're all getting drunk, but only Bill has the real fucking keg in the room. And he's watching like the $6 million man. And he's like, just fucking wasted. Like by himself, having a great time watching the $6 million man. Oh my god, dude, it's so funny. It's so perfect because every heartbreaking moment that we talk about I mean, it doesn't make it like a dramedy, but every heartbreaking moment we talk about, there's a moment that is just equally as true, but comedic. I mean, only the best postmodern work of art for me can do that. Which is why like parody or like there's not a whole lot of
So this is like up there.
Yeah, I even think that opening is like pretty performative too.
Yes. Yes, I was talking. It's a great opening. Minus obvious exclusion.
Yeah, exactly.
It does.
I mean, I think Millie is another exclusion. I wouldn't have minded seeing.
Well, Millie's not in like.
I would have liked her character to be larger in season 2. I mean, tell her she's in more than Seth Rogen. She's in many episodes of Seth.
Yeah, but she's not really part of like either of the main geek group.
She's a fucking geek. She's a mathlete.
Right, but she's not like within like Sam's space. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, but like Sam's space isn't really represented too much.
Also, like she kind of goes by the joke, kind of like the Jesus freak kind of thing.
I'm just saying it's pretty male focused intro. And we could have used Millie and
so
to even it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're arguably pretty damn important. Millie is fucking awesome.
Also, more important than
we can keep the adults out of it.
Yeah.
But Mr. Rosso is really cool. I feel weird saying that because I feel Mr. Rosso would like
Lindsay had a good crush on him, sort of. She said something in one episode where like, "Do you think that he's kind of cute?" And then another episode. I don't know what they're doing with that. I'm glad they didn't. But like, there's like, but kids crush on him. It's
yeah,
weird.
Like fucking Neil's brother. Isn't it all?
Yeah,
that's another reason why Neil is so fucking mad, because Neil loves Lindsay and he gets to see himself being cucked by his own brother.
Right after so much
Neil drama, hard to watch.
After so much drama with his mom, and like I don't know, I really like Barry. I mean, I guess that she was like 6. She's supposed to be like Lindsay was like 16, and he was like 19. Make it that way.
I mean, I don't think it's a huge deal. I'm just
make it that way. But at any rate, like there's so much power to all these characters. Millie goes from like that like stereotypical like butt of a joke, but then she's just like there's not only value to what she's thinking, also like she's her own insecurities, which is like she thinks that like being Christian is why she's like happy and everyone else is sad. And then she realizes like, oh, I'm actually sad too. I'm broken too. And some of this is performance, and some of this is like me telling myself, and in some ways it helps. And I might like more organized, but then at the same time, there's so much nuance to all these characters, and there would have been more if we got more.
A fun question: the relationships between, if we could, like just for fun, Lindsay and Kim and Lindsay and Millie. Like, what does she get out of either one? Which one cares more? I think she's inspired by fucking Kim Kelly. I think she's lying her ass off.
I think Kim specifically. I think after a certain point, she kind of got sick of Nick. Sort of.
They ride off into the sunset together.
Kim and Lindsay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so, I'm so glad that the series never got bad. But I would really like to see where they would have went. But at the same time, the ending for that final episode, the finale. Well, I think at that point when they thought that they realized that they weren't going to be able to make more episodes.
So they did the best they could.
So they felt like, okay, so what's
and I never want them to come back. I never want to see another Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, that would.
Don't revive it. Leave it.
Yeah.
Leave it, please.
Yes.
I think it's better this way. It's even more postmodern and tragic this way.
Postmodernism really likes at least with critics, the critics really like arguments forms.
Yeah.
And this is what you get. But then going on to like the Grateful Dead tour and like the Colin Grateful Dead, and like which just kind of recently, and Mr. Rocco sort of like inspired her to get on that path. So it's kind of funny because she doesn't necessarily go into the academic summit, which would be a really good thing for her academic career, or at least going to college and stuff. And like they go, and it's like it goes off and goes up to the sunset, and it's like there's a world ahead. And
that's the thing. I think that like people like Ken chose that life to be a freak. I think Lindsay. It's not like it starts off kind of misappropriating. She feels like a poser at first.
Yeah, well, she is a poser,
but like she has so much privilege. Like Daniel does not have the choice. Kim doesn't have the choice. Yeah, like, those two in particular. Nick has the choice. He's just an idiot. But those two in particular, don't have the fucking choice, and I think it's such a good ending even for Kim too, because I think there's like inspiration for Kim.
Well, especially like they hug towards the
there's a world outside of Desario. James Franco's pretty, but he ain't that pretty. There's a world outside of there.
They like hug towards the end, and I thought that was so powerful.
Yeah.
Because like, especially when you compare it to the first few episodes, where she's like, she's a bitch.
Yep. Oh no.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like.
But she hasn't had the opportunity to like not be one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think this is about a bunch of kids. Kids, what do they want most? The opportunity to be something that they're not, or to be the fullest maximalist version of themselves.
Yes.
Like that's what they want so much. And it's about kids trying to get those opportunities and seize them. And some of them, like I think James Franco wanted an opportunity, Desario wanted an opportunity to play, like get lost in role-playing game or something. They get lost in being someone else for a second. In real life, you can't do that.
That goes with Neil and the ventriloquist also.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's like filtering it through the dummy. And then it becomes like this role playing with Dungeons and Dragons. And great.
It's all about these opportunities, and like I think the most cruel thing you could probably do to a teenager is to refuse them the opportunity to experiment or to try to be something different or something that they want to be. I think that's probably the most cruel thing you can do, because then it's repressed, because then it's internalized, and then you grow up and you got a part of you that needs therapy. Like you need this. My old band had a song back in like 2010 called Carlos the Dwarf. And I wanted you to hear this song. I don't think I ever showed you it.
You have not. This is the first I've heard about this.
Yeah, this was before 2010. It was probably 2009 then. But so much fun.
This is a song for Desario. If you don't know, well here you go. Freaks and Geeks is my favorite show. I'll never forget James Franco. This is a song for Desario. If you don't know, well here you go. Freaks and Geeks is my favorite show. We'll never forget James Franco. This is a song for Desario. If you don't know, well here you go. Freaks and Geeks is my favorite show. We'll never forget James Franco. This is a song for Desario. If you don't know, well here you go. The Freaks and Geeks is my favorite show. Never forget James Franco. This is a song for Desario. If you don't know, well here you go. Freaks and Geeks is my favorite show. We'll never forget James Franco! This is a song for Desario!